Thank you.
St Albans Swimming Club, Brian Gardner.
Okay. You ready?
Yes, please.
Okay. Madam Mayor, councillors, I'm Brian Gardner, current president of the St Albans Swimming Club, a life member and coach of our young swimmers. I was also a member of the management committee before the council decided to take over the community pools. So thank you for this opportunity to speak to you on behalf of our club about the proposed rebuild of our pool at its original site in the Edgware village just off of Edgware Road. My submission is about making you aware of the history of the pool and all of the hard work and voluntary hours that have been put in by our club members over the many years of its history. I'm not sure that you are aware, but there is a book written by Val Somerville that I think has been passed around that traced the history of St Albans Club from 1892 to 2006. In that book there is a paragraph, there is a photograph on page 16 of a letter from the council stating that the land had been handed over to the club committee as a site for the public for a public swimming baths, and in the press article on page 18 about fundraising efforts, the words "land given by the council" were used. In the minute books there is evidence of the fundraising that took place and of the building. I was fortunate to have met some of those elderly members that took part in those activities to raise the funds to build the pool when I first brought my children for training in the mid-1980s. The main point I wish to make from the point of view of our swimming club is that the pool and all the buildings on that site, that is the pool, the plant, heating, changing sheds, kiosks, clubhouse, all the trees, shrubs and plants were put there by the funds raised by our swimming club, and they were demolished without consultation and approval of our club with no compensation. As a member of the pool management committee, I can remember that we used to pay the insurance and upkeep of the pool that was held by a grant from the council each year until the council decided to take over. There were many hours of voluntary work that went into keeping the pool fit for use. I can remember spending many hours helping cleaning and painting the buildings, scrubbing down the inside of the pool and helping paint it before the start of a new season. I also used to help tend the lawns and gardens throughout the year. Our swimming club members would voluntarily man the entrance and take the entrance fees, serve ice creams and snacks, and some of us senior swimmers would act as lifeguards for the evening and weekend sessions. So what I can't understand is how it was possible for the council to take over our pool on land, according to the letter from the council, was handed over to our club to build a swimming pool for the use of the community, a project that took many years of hard work and dedication of our previous generation of members, and for it to be taken away in the way it was heartbreaking for us. The feeling of injustice was very deep in our community, and that was shown by the street demonstrations and the many letters to the press at the time, and is still felt today. Since the demolition in 2006, members of our club and community have been trying to find a way to re-establish the pool back where it belongs. Such is the deep feeling of our loss that was felt in our community. That is 12 years of dogged work that has brought us to a point that we are ready to start rebuilding our beloved community pool once again. Not only has our club been deprived of its swimming pool that it built and had to relocate to the Shirley Intermediate School pool, as there was no space for us at the Graham Condon pool, but we have had to raise a considerable amount of money in consent and legal fees just to get consent from the council to re-establish a pool that we already had. In my previous submission, I stated that the pool was probably past its use by then, but we did have a quote that was very reasonable to fix any problems that could have kept our pool open for another estimated 70 years, and in hindsight, with the earthquake insurance, we may have had the pool replaced. You may have read in the weekend press a couple of weeks ago an article about the forgotten suburb of Shirley. Our membership is mainly drawn from the areas of Shirley, Maraho and St Albans, as we offer affordable teaching and coaching of swimming for families. By re-establishing the pool close to our neighbouring forgotten eastern suburbs, we would not be competing with the patronage of Graham Condon pool, because that's over-prescribed. as I have to take my nearly 3-year-old granddaughter to Jelly Park for lessons because there's no room there. Our swimming club built the barbs on land handed over to us by the council for that purpose, a history of over 80 years of occupation, and it is my opinion that you should recognise all the hard work of past and present generations and the loss our club has had to endure since your predecessors demolished what was rightfully ours. In my opinion, the council should look to finding savings on other pool projects around the city that seem exorbitant to me, because we have plans and costings that our pool complex can be built for around 5 million, as opposed to the 20 million plus that I've heard for similar sized ones in other parts of the city. I request that the council consider righting the wrong done to us and provide the necessary funds for us to re-establish our pool back where it belongs as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just ask what did the actual agreement say when we transferred the property to you for $1? Because the way I'm reading the newspaper article at the time, it says as part of the agreement to sell the land for $1, the council stated it would not contribute to the project in any other shape or form, either to develop the initiative or to keep it running in the future. Was that part of the agreement?
I'm not sure about what the agreement is now, but I'm only talking about history. The title may have been still left with the council, but there was a gentleman's agreement that the land was handed over to us in any contract. You know, that is historical. With 80 years of occupation of that land, that would be legally, I think legally, you could say that we really own that land.
But you weren't a party to the agreement. I'll ask the next submitter.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Thank you, and it's really interesting to hear the history. I'm not from that area, so it's really interesting to hear that. I was wondering how the pool operated before it closed. You were talking about the swim club. Did the swim club run it and operate it for a membership base, or was it open to the general public, sort of normal pool hours?
So the swimming club basically ran most of it. We had a management committee who looked after, we used to employ the staff. Yeah. We used to employ some lifeguards for the daytime, but the rest of it was run on a voluntary basis. You know, like the kiosk was run by members of our club. You know, as I say, I used to do evenings and weekends. I would be a lifeguard. Yeah. You know, we used to teach life saving, and we used to compete with life saving, and that. So we were.
But so it was open to the public, and people would pay, and the volunteers would cater for it that way. And what sort of size was the sort of operational grant that you got from the council at the time? Do you remember?
I think it might have got up to about 10,000, or something like that.
Okay, thanks.
But it was very seasonable. We only had an open air pool, so it was very hard to keep it running without the help of the council. But we did. We managed it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian, because I've heard parts of that story, but I've never heard it sort of encompass so with such an excellent summary, really, and that whole history of volunteerism which you have, which certainly as a council we applaud, of course. What I wanted to ask you about, Brian, was in terms of going forward, you might be aware that the community at West Spraydon have recently managed to build a pool themselves, and they used basically it's built of steel, the bottom and the sides.
That's what ours is going to be.
Yours will be too. So so it was really, would you talk with them to look at the technology they used and also incorporate any of the expertise that they have?
We've got all the plans, all the things from Apollo who built building the QE2 one, and they've done like Spraydon and all that. It's the same company, and they've costed it around around the 5 million. So we've got all the costings, everything. It's all in place.
All ready to go.
Yeah, it's all ready to go. All you've got to say is all we want now is the money. Yeah. Because we've basically that was our land, all our buildings, and the council demolished that without any consent from us and without any compensation.
Thank you.
That's where we come from in our club.
There's a parallel with West Spraydon, but quite different in terms of what happened. But thank you very much.
Okay.
Glenn?
Thank you. Could you tell us, Brian, about the ethos of a community owned pool, if you like, as opposed to other pools?
Beg your pardon?
Can you tell us about the ethos, the sense of what it is to, you know, have that ownership of a pool like this as opposed to other pools?
Well, we're going back to community feeling. We can run that pool. We've been to the university. We've had some done an analysis of running costs and things like that. And with our indoor teaching pool and the little gymnasium that we can have in there, we can make enough money to keep that going without any help from the council in future. And that's where we come from. You know, like the loss to our community was great. And as you say, like we've spent 12 years now fighting for our pool to be put back where it came from. And that's our ethos. That's where we come from. A community-based pool.
Look, thank you very much. It's a good note to conclude on. So thank you very much for making your submission. Can we move on to the St Albans?